Elizabeth really ended up favouring Mary's claim to the throne. She really did seem to think that Mary was the rightful heir. This sort of relationship between Elizabeth and Mary, a double strand of favour and loathing, and you know, the fact that these two women inherited a lot of poison really from the previous generations. Father's will had put Mary's line below the grey line, and Elizabeth did not really seem to agree with that. In a way, her seeing Mary as her heir marked Mary out as a rival. Elizabeth and Mary's relationship as cousins, queens, etc., and then ultimately as rivals.
So we had that talk about the private life of Anne Boleyn tour, which, by the way, made someone on this tour wonder whether they should do the other tour. So let's now do one about the Elizabeth I and Mary Queen of Scots tour, because this is fab. We begin on the 10th of September and conclude on the 15th of September. Yeah. Picking up from London we've got a really convenient pickup spot, which is great. But then we're going straight up to Stratford-Upon-Avon, which is where we're staying. We're staying in a beautiful hotel near. It's actually the hotel is right next to the RSC.
Oh, fab! Brilliant.
Which in turn is right next to the river. So we're hoping people get a little bit of free time to just have a little wander around.
Well, Stratford is just a beautiful spot. I think also, is this hotel, this is Judi Dench's favourite hotel, isn't it?
This is Judi Dench's favourite hotel. Can't guarantee she's going to be there, but
no, but still, whatever
she may well be. But yes,
national treasure. Whatever she wants or likes, she deserves. So that's it.
Yeah. So we're staying in Stratford-Upon-Avon. That makes us really well placed for other places that we're going to go to. So we'll get there on the first night, have welcome drinks. You're going to do us a talk.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a talk that first night because about this sort of relationship between Elizabeth and Mary, and this very sort of double strand of favour and loathing, and you know, the fact that these two women inherited a lot of poison really from the previous generations. But one of the interesting things, when we talked about this before, is that Elizabeth really ended up favouring Mary's claim to the throne. She really did seem to think that Mary was the rightful heir above and beyond the English claimants. And let's remember, her father's will had put Mary's line below the grey line, and Elizabeth did not really seem to agree with that. And yet, in a way, her seeing Mary as her heir marked Mary out as a rival. It's a very interesting relationship. So really, I'll be talking about what drove Elizabeth and Mary's relationship as cousins, queens, etc., and then ultimately as rivals.
That's going to be really interesting. So the first full day that we have together, the following day, this is, I honestly, I'm so proud of this day. So we're going to start off at Hever Castle, which Elizabeth visited on, I think, 4 occasions, but there's this famous 1575 visit where she's there for 19 days, and there's massive sort of pageantry and celebrations and all sorts that Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, who's been given the right to lease the Kenilworth Castle by Elizabeth. This is his home. He's built her new apartments so that she's got, I mean, they're huge actually. She's got a whole basically mini palace to herself. He's done the gardens for her.
Really, really special to see. I mean, we saw them, I think, at the height of the heat wave last year.
Yeah.
And even when the air was like undulating, they're just, because they've restored them. They put them back at Kenilworth. They kind of look what they would have looked like when Elizabeth I saw them. So it's really, it gives it such a living piece of Tudor history.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And so, of course, this is where Robert made his last-ditch attempt, really, clearly at a marriage proposal.
Yeah. And she left before he could.
She left. Because actually there's some thought that it could have been supposed to have been a 3-week, 21-day visit.
Yeah, because they tended to organise things. There were 3, in the same way actually people tend to organise breaks, holidays, vacations today, 3, 5, 7. There tends to be blocks that people organize them in. 19 days is unusual. And so the theory goes that one of the things, and we'll see where this happened at Kenilworth, you see where she would have watched this play that contains a marriage proposal and the character of a queen. And allegedly Elizabeth thought, uh-oh, if I stay another day or another 2 days, there's going to be some big public proposal of marriage. And rather than put herself in that difficult position and humiliate Robert, she left before he could do that.
So we're going to be where that happened, where that love story came to an end. Well, no, the marriage bit anyway, the possibilities of marriage. But then we're going to head. Now, this is an addition to the original itinerary, so I'm very excited about this. We're going to head to Warwick, to the Lord Leicester Hospital, named after Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, because he founded it in 1571. The buildings, though, go back a lot further. He actually utilised a site that was already there, used by the town guilds.
Yeah,
it's right on the old town walls. So there's this incredible gate with a church on top, which is part of the Lord Leicester Hospital complex. And the day we're going, it's not open to the public. So we're getting exclusive access. Not only that, but the current master, Heidi Mayer, is going to give us the guided tour, which is incredible. And anyone who's sort of looked up the Lord Leicester will know that they're closed at the moment. They're doing a massive refurbishment, sort of conservation refurbishment, and are only opening again in the summer. So we're going to be there fresh into their new reopening.
Fantastic. I've actually, so this is one thing that I'll be sharing with guests on the tour. I haven't been to the Lord Leicester Hospital before, so I'm very much looking forward to it, really, because it is one of those places that, as you say, one of the attractions of this tour, I think, for people is it's sort of off the beaten path. It's some of these jewels of Tudor history that maybe aren't on the usual route. Yeah.
The Lord Leicester is one of those places as well that people will recognise because they would have seen it in films and dramas. You know, it's because it's pretty much exactly what you'd think of if you're thinking of a Tudor kind of complex. It's incredible. Excuse me. So that, though, isn't the end of the treats for that day. We will then be heading to Harvington Hall.
Harvington Hall, which I hadn't been on until you brought me to I hadn't been to it the last time. Harvington Hall is genuinely, I would say, one of the most extraordinary places I have ever seen in my life. In terms of country houses, I can't think of anything that rivals it, because so Harvington Hall, and we have the brilliant guides there like Philippa and James who showed us around, but Harvington Hall was of a recusant family. It was of a Catholic family. And they'll show you the priest holes and where they hid priests and how they hid them. And it is, like, I mean, it is, and they're all still there. They're all still preserved. It really has, this is the closest way I could describe Harvington Hall is it does not feel in any way like a museum. It feels like a house.
Yeah, I agree. And Phil and James do really do a good job of bringing it to life, and they dress up. They like doing that. But that isn't the end of that either, because
I could dress up like Philip and James every day. I would. Like, but I mean, I think Philip and James do kind of like, you know, rugged aristocrats and guards. I would somehow end up like one of those colossal ruffs that came into fashion about the 1580s for men, like Henry III of France. That's what I would look like. Just
if I can get up and down the stairs in it, it's not big enough.
If I can go through a door face on, not sideways, the ruff is not working for me. That's where I'm at with the rough envy.
You've told right. I'm gonna see if I can get out of one. It's gonna be made out of paper napkins. So we're in this recusant's house. So these are people who were still practicing Catholics when it had been outlawed in Elizabethan England. And who is going to be there but Elizabeth I herself? So we're going to have an audience with the incredible Leslie Smith as Elizabeth I.
I mean, so I saw Leslie. This is another thing. I always wanted to see Leslie as Elizabeth I, and you had prepped me for how impressive it was going to be. but she appears in kind of a completely accurate, period accurate costumes and makeup. She's used so because they wrote phonetically, you can, if you know how to read accents, you can spot from their writing what accent they might have had. So she recreates what she thinks Elizabeth's voice would have sounded like based off her letters. It's just, I mean, it is really, it's absolutely mesmerizing to watch. I thought that was quite moving, actually, as well. I thought it was really, really just such a different way to approach history in the best way possible.
Yeah, I can't wait to see take another group to see her. Now, the following day, we're heading to Tutbury Castle, which, in fact, Leslie runs. This is where she's based, and it was prison to Mary, Queen of Scots, on 4 occasions, and Mary hated it. This is the worst places, I think, that she felt that she had been kept, and she was incredibly ill here. And so the stories around Mary here are they're fascinating, they're a little harrowing, and we're going to get the whole day there. The site to ourselves, it's closed to the public, so again we have the site to ourselves, the 3rd place in 2 days. Very excited. And if people want to dress up in Tudor dress, this is the day they can do it and have photographs around the castle. And we'll be having lunch there, and we'll be having an audience with Mary, Queen of Scots.
Yeah, I have not seen Leslie as well. I have not seen Mary, Queen of Scots, and I'm really looking forward to that one, because Elizabeth twice, Mary once. But I haven't seen the Mary, and this will be the first time I saw her Mary, Queen of Scots. So I'm looking forward to it. Also, to see it in Tutbury, I imagine will be something else.
Yes. Well, exactly. This is you really get you can transport yourself back. I mean, Tutbury is fairly ruinous following the English Civil Wars, but you are on the top of a hill. You can transport yourself back to when Mary was there, and just, what would she have been looking out at? The wind that sort of whips up there. Hopefully it won't be a particularly windy day, but you just get the feel,
and also I think
the isolation.
I think to be in that place, to see kind of what Mary saw and what she went through. And I think Tutbury in many ways for her was a bit of a turning point, because I think we have to remember Mary's attitude towards her imprisonment shifted and changed. And I think you can spot in various places she stayed the building desperation that ultimately led to some very fateful and fatal decisions.
Indeed. This is where we think the casket letters may have originated. We're near Burton-on-Trent, which is a big brewing town, always has been. So hence the casket's potential origin. So that's Tutbury. Then the following day, we are heading to our next accommodation / castle, Hever. So we're going via Peterborough Cathedral. So we will be spending a little bit of time travelling over to Peterborough, which is where Mary Queen of Scots was actually originally laid to rest.
Also I think for Tudor fans as well, for Catherine of Aragon fans, it is where Catherine of Aragon is still buried. Indeed.
And it's a stunning cathedral. There's actually a part of it that was built during the Tudor period, very early on, actually. The Tudor, the fan vaulted ceiling that we're used to seeing sort of from the Henry VII chapel is sort of is invoked here as well. So that's, and the story of Red, which I will leave to those coming on the tour, but the story of Red, the gravedigger, is incredibly interesting and part of the story of Mary there as well. So then we're heading down to Hever. We'll get settled in, but we're having a tour of Hidden Hever in the evening. So again, after everyone's gone home, we get the castle to ourselves. And then we go and get to go and get behind the ropes. And
Philippa moved on a couple of times, and it's always interesting. But you see, like, the private quarters that aren't always open to the public.
Yes, and they're a little bit more into the fabric of the castle.
Yes, yeah.
You can really get a feel for that. And we end the tour with a meal in the Great Hall of Hever.
Yeah.
With Jay Britton, who's the Tudor Songbook, giving us a private concert.
This is something we haven't had Jay sing at the meal before. So you actually will be dining in the Boleyn's Great Hall, hearing music from the Boleyn era. It'll be something really special. And I think I first heard Jay in the courtyard at Hever on the 19th of May, actually on the anniversary of the execution. But Jay again appears in sort of period perfect costume, and she's really done research into Tudor music. But her voice it's mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's transporting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Transporting, sorry, is a much better word.
She like you say, her research is impeccable, because she's actually looking into Tudor, songbooks and recreating the music from the Tudor court.
Yeah.
So
it's
lots of treats.
And what's not to like about that? Yeah, I think that'll be. Also, I think that's one of those memories, or sort of one of those moments that will become a memory.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope people get a lot of that actually on these tours. That's what people say to me, and it makes me incredibly proud.
That's a lovely thing, and I think it's a special thing, because there's for a lot of people, you've lived with these historical figures and historical stories in your head, and for many of us for years, and then you get to see these places in a way that you're not kind of being rushed around the way you can be sometimes in museums. You get to take your time. Sometimes, apart from us, these buildings are completely empty. It's you in the past. That's all that's in those rooms.
And the following day, so our final full day, we are heading into London to go to Westminster Abbey, which of course is the final resting place of both Elizabeth and Mary, Queen of Scots. Not too far away from each other. In fact,
no, not at all.
Very close, considering that they never meet in life, and there they are in rest, really close by. So we're going to be met by William, our tour guide, who we've met a few times before. He's brilliant. So he'll be taking us around the Abbey. And because to Westminster Abbey, there's an incredible amount to see.
Cleves is there too, for other Tudor fans as well. And Cleves is very, there's not, there's so many people buried there. It's, I think that'll be something.
Yeah.
And then it's quite moving to be there at the end, isn't it? With Mary and Elizabeth.
Exactly. So this is to kind of leave them where they actually are, physically where they actually are, at the end of our tour. But we will then so after Westminster Abbey, we're going to I think we're going to pop over to the other side of the river, over to Lambeth, get some lunch, and then we're going to come back to Hever, and we have Estelle Perronque coming to talk to us.
Wonderful Estelle. Yeah, Estelle's a friend, so I'm even more doubly biased with this one. But Estelle has written a really well-received and well-reviewed book about Elizabeth I and her sort of friendship and enmity with Mary's first mother-in-law, the Queen Mother of France, Catherine de Medici. And of course, actually, people have seen either on the BBC or in PBS the Boleyn's series. Estelle was a contributor to that as well. So it's definitely, Estelle's talk will be superb, because what Estelle has is not just a great knowledge of Elizabeth and Elizabethan England. She has an equally strong working knowledge of Valois France, which of course we know really shaped Mary as much, if not more so, than her experiences in the British Isles.
Yeah, exactly. So it all fits together very well. And I love Estelle's, because she's her perspective, because she's got that.
Yeah.
That incredible understanding of the French court, that she could just piece it together so well.
Yes.
That would be a brilliant talk. And then we conclude with a barbecue on the lawns outside. So we have the Astor Wing to ourselves, and we have a barbecue out the back, which next to. So we're at the back of the castle, on the side of the moat, just the most brilliant view of the castle. We're right there, right next to it.
I think actually last time, whatever way the sun was setting, the castle kind of looked orange. It really, I mean, it looked kind of as the sunset, you sort of caught up on the moat, which was gorgeous, really gorgeous.
Yeah, glows. And then the next day we say our goodbyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I just think we've always been so lucky with, it's something to look forward to through summer, I think, sure. So, September. But yeah, I think I can't wait for this one. And I think the Elizabeth and Mary, those two strands, is always fascinating.
Absolutely. One of the most fascinating stories of kinship and rivalry, I think.
And near misses.
And near misses, and then not so much miss.
Yeah, then it's a fatal encounter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that, Gareth. Look forward to being on the tour with you.
Absolutely, always.